going to be short and sweet. It's all over the news. Putin wants to bring a war to Europe. Really?
Mhm.
We've seen and heard about the maritime attacks on the Black Sea, where drones are sent out to damage ships on both sides of the battle in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Flying drones and floating drones sent to search and destroy the ships. Kept from the mainstream media recently was an attack on a so-called Russian shadow fleet of tankers transporting Russian oil to who is wanting to buy it.
Yeah.
The latest victim was an Omani flagged vessel, Gwendil, the name,
Yeah.
which was empty when the Ukrainian drones were sent. And although damaged the ship, it didn't sink it. Now, one could be forgiven for thinking that the ship was a legitimate target had the attack, of course, not taken place in the Mediterranean Sea, just over 2,000 kilometers from Ukraine. So why did the press keep mum on the attack? Well, probably because it wasn't Putin who was the aggressor. So now that precedent has been set, will there be a retaliation by Russia on a Ukrainian asset in the same area? And if so, whatever will the papers say? And more openly, what will the European leaders say as the Mediterranean Sea is a lot closer to Europe as what the Black Sea is?
Mm.
So there you are, short and sweet. Attack happened in the Mediterranean, in
Right.
international waters, nowhere near Ukraine, by Ukraine,
Mhm.
on an Omani ship. There you have it.
Right. Okay. Yes. Um, yeah, a rather interesting comment. I mean, yeah, it's I think the term is the fog of war.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, I mean, I don't think there's fake news because there's no news about it, like true or fake at all. Um, and yeah, you found it out somewhere. Um, yeah, I mean,
Several, by the way, several
so,
sources,
yeah,
but not hardly any of it mainstream.
yeah. Well, I mean, yes, I mean this is the way it's going. I mean, I'm going to use it. Yeah, I'll look at news sources first before I start commenting about war actions and everything else, because none of us know. We're finding out more and more that the so-called mainstream media, MSN, um, whatever you want to consider MSM, do seem to be very subservient to the powers that be,
Yeah,
i.e.,
don't delve into that side of it too much at the moment because
no,
with
no,
another podcast we're
yeah,
going to do
right,
exactly on the
yeah.
subject.
So yes, they're going to report what they're told, um, what they're told to report. The the actions against, okay, what's a legitimate target in a war scenario? That's always debatable. Um, I mean, yes, you can always argue if something's supplying or believed to be supplying a country that's your enemy, that ship is a legitimate target. Uh,
Empty,
eh? Yeah.
an empty.
Well, it could have done something. It could have dropped something off and could be doing a return journey. Um, and again, with all due respect, we're told it's empty. You've been told. Or yeah, it is a um yeah, it's always going to be a difficult thing. I mean, okay, if you're a strategist, and sometimes, with all due respect to either side, cock-ups happen. Accidental attacks are made. Orders are given. Yeah. Oh, Oh no, hang on. It's too late. The missile's gone, sort of thing. Yeah. Um, it's what yeah, I mean, at this moment, there is a lot of confusion around the Ukrainian conflict. Nobody is quite sure what's happening. Um, Nobody can be sure what's in Putin's mind, because one minute Putin's planning this, and then the next thing we're told we know absolutely nothing what Putin's doing. Well, it's either one thing or another. Okay, I say Putin. We'll say the Russian administration. I mean, Putin.
Putin, I said in another podcast recently,
Yeah,
he's offered
yeah.
a contract saying that he does not have any interest in attacking the west of Europe.
Well, I believe him. I cannot find, unless the guy's gone totally crazy, which I don't believe for a minute. He's not a madman like a certain Austrian painter many years ago. He's not mad like that. It doesn't mean I agree with everything Putin does, but he's not totally obsessed with any strange notions or ideologies. Um, and yeah, I believe that he doesn't really have any desire. Why I've never really understood why, even in the height of the Cold War, when I was about 15, 16, 17, why he would roll the tanks over over the Iron Curtain into mainland Europe. What use would it be for them? Yeah, I mean, even the notion of communism was dying at that time.
He says he doesn't even envisage reforming the USSR. He says because too many lives were lost.
No,
He
he
said for a person to try and think of doing that
mm,
is got to be a crazy head or something like that. He said.
yeah, megalomaniac
Yeah.
or
Well,
yeah. I mean, he's like I said, and he's not that. I mean, does he want some past glories of Russia? Yes, he does. We us as British people, we always look to our past glories of the empire sometimes and everything else. And yeah, okay, there's good and bad in that. Um, he does have to keep stability within Russia, which is a very difficult thing when you look at the size of Russia and different factions he has there. Um, and
well, I'm not too bothered about Russia in itself.
no, but I'm saying,
The whole point, the whole point of what I
yeah,
my uh, my little
yeah, intro, yeah,
intro
yeah,
was the fact that the conflict is starting to become a little bit close to Europe, and
yeah,
it isn't on from the attacks are
mm,
not coming from Putin.
mm,
They're coming from Zelensky. They're
mm,
coming from, or rather, I wouldn't say that Zelensky. I would say it's coming from the Ukrainian part, whoever is behind for, supplying the drones to the Ukraine.
you you could be implying that the Zelensky administration in Ukraine isn't actually in charge anymore.
Most of the Ukrainian administration is trying to keep up counting the money.
Mm, well,
They don't have time to administrate. They're just counting. There's a guy in France who's
mm,
just had a huge wedge
mm,
of money take frozen by the French authorities.
mm,
Over £3 million worth of luxury watches.
mm.
He absconded to France. He's lived in Nice, and he's
Well,
lots of money, lots of cash, lots of
shock,
watches, lots of gold.
uh, shock horror. Ukraine is a corrupt country. I
Something
didn't
like
know that.
five, yeah,
Yeah.
something like 5 kilos of gold. But anyway, if the war hits
Mm,
Europe,
mm,
mainland Europe,
mm.
I mean, I know that the Mediterranean Sea is not a small sea,
No.
right? But like I said, it was 2,000 kilometers away from Ukraine,
Mm,
which might point it a little bit closer to mainland Europe than Ukraine. It's still international water.
mm.
There's a ship on its own, and
Well,
if it was full, it would have it would have leaked oil everywhere.
mm.
So That's why I believe that the ship was empty.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, when I was saying,
My sources told me that as well.
was it carrying something else that people knew about? I'm just looking from another angle. Why would Ukrainians do a rash move or seemingly rash move?
Well, yes, which is I asked myself the same question,
Yeah,
Mark. And you
yeah,
remember what we were on about Slovakia and
yeah.
the what was the Trinistia or something like that, the little country
Mm,
for the false flag attack.
yeah.
That could be interesting.
Mm.
That could be an interesting aspect of it as well. It might not be Zelensky himself.
Well, this is it. So it's the fog of war. Who else is interested in doing what? Um,
What
the East,
Western Front, sir?
the East. The Eastern Europe's always been a bit of a gangster type area, gangster states and of
Yeah.
mentality. Um, is there somebody that's interested in causing a few issues? This has been
The coalition of the willing, sir.
mm. Co- coalition with what? Yeah, yeah. It's like yeah. We don't have any guns, but we'll yeah, well yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, I want the war to stop. My personal thing is
We all, don't we all?
yeah, and I cannot see personally. I cannot see any advantage in certainly the people of Western Europe benefiting from a continuation of what is effectively a local territorial dispute. Um,
The Western governments, like I said in another podcast,
mm,
they've invested far too much money in Ukraine. They can't get the money from the Russian assets that they've frozen
no,
because they can't agree amongst themselves that that's the
well,
thing
they're
to do.
absolutely terrified what the outcome of that might be. Yeah,
They're going to have to put it all on the tax bill of their individual
yeah.
populations.
Well, yeah, and the individual
That's why they
population.
can't. That's why they can't allow Trump to make a peace deal,
Yeah,
and because the war stopped tomorrow, they'll get not a red cent
no.
from Ukraine.
Well, and the trouble is, if they continue in taxing the good people of Europe, who knows where that might end? When people can't even afford to put a Sunday lunch on the table, middle class people, this is.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
that that's that's when they'll start getting scared. Now, whether they're living in some sort of alternate universe in their own minds or whatever. Um, and yeah, I mean, again, things are going to be going on at the moment. Um, again, you've picked up an obscure piece of news, which is interesting. I have entire books behind me that sometimes we think news an event is of no real significance. And when you look back historically at some things, it was quite a major cog in a in a in a very big wheel. Um, and I don't in itself, I don't know what it means. I mean, okay, a ship has been struck. Was it by accident? It was empty. It wasn't going on a pleasure cruise, but um, I would like to see it backed up at some point with some intelligence. Why was it attacked? What was it carrying? Was it okay? It might not have been carrying oil. Was it carrying? Was it
Well, like,
carrying equipment or individuals that could have been
well,
of a
look,
threat? Yeah.
it was an oil tanker.
Mm.
It was deemed to be one of these this fleet of
Yeah. Well,
ships.
yeah.
It was deemed to be one of these naughty boy ships,
Mm.
right? And so either it was going or coming back from Russia.
Mm.
It was either full or empty. I suggest it was empty, which suggests it's
Well, it's
going
empty
to.
of oil. Let's just say it was empty of oil. Yeah.
Yeah, and so and it wasn't just if it was one drone, you could say whoops, but
But
if
if
it's
it,
a fleet of drones,
yeah.
then you can't really say whoopsie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the intelligence that you need to find out is who sent the drones.
Well, this is it. Yeah. Why did it?
That that get that answer.
Yeah. Who, who had the joystick in charge? Yeah. Where did it come from? Yeah. Well,
Um,
we, we, whether or not we're here, we probably won't hear too much about it in the near future. Um, Even more so if it wasn't oops. I mean, even if you told me that it was a fleet thing, I mean, somebody decided it was a target, a legitimate target. If it was Ukrainians, it was a Ukrainians decided legitimate target. Um, at the moment, I think Western leaders seeing Russian assets as legitimate targets. Um,
there you are.
any Russian asset.
There you
Um,
are. Western leaders have nothing to do officially have nothing to do with the Ukrainian conflict.
yeah, I mean, but it is true, increasingly so. The US administration is getting very frustrated and washing its
Yes, of
hands.
course. Yes, it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
and for exactly the same reasons that I just mentioned,
yeah,
that they can't afford to let Trump work out the
mm,
peace deal
yeah.
because otherwise, if they did, they would get not a red cent,
I mean,
and their economies would take a massive hit.
yeah. I mean, I believe there's a an envoy from Russia traveling to meet people of the Trump administration today or tomorrow. I read
Yeah.
briefly, and nobody's particularly hopeful that they'll be able to resolve anything. But I think this guy's going. I don't think he's a Rudolf Hess. I'm not entirely certain if he has Putin's complete blessing or just a nod from Putin. See, go on a fishing expedition, see what you can get, see what we can agree. Um, I mean, what I'm going to give you a scenario here. So, like the American administration turned around and bluntly said, um, "The war is going to stop tomorrow. That's it, both sides, and we're going to put our assets in the region to make sure it does stop." I mean, could you imagine that? Yeah, we're not a friend or enemy of either side.
That is what Trump is wanting to
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
Is the assets that Trump is wanting to put in Ukraine are
mm,
civilian assets,
yeah.
not military assets.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah. So,
And so that makes it so that that Putin would
yeah,
not damage an American asset
mm,
because that would be a signal of war,
mm.
right? But like I said, the Western Europe they've invested too much into the game
Well, yeah, they've blown it.
again.
Well, let's put it this way. I mean, when you look, as you said, whatever you might say, you look at the lineup of the Western European leaders, and you just look at them, and it's like, but for one or two or three of them, you just look at it and go, I wouldn't even let you guys run a sweet shop.